All right, welcome and good afternoon for some of you on the East Coast, and for the rest of you, good morning. Thank you for joining us for what I would consider maybe the semi-annual topic. I would say we get together probably twice a year to have a discussion around accountability, structure, how you can use it in your business, and why it's an important piece of hitting your goals at the end of the year. I think that this topic is probably the least sexy topic of all the topics that we teach, and so quite honestly, I'm surprised that anybody signs up for it. But I also understand that smart business people know that accountability and structure is the key to achieving and accomplishing anything it is that you set forth. You can have the best skills in the world, you can have the best leads, you can have the best marketing, you can have the best technology, but if you're not being structured in your approach and using accountability to your advantage, then likely you're going to have a very inconsistent business or very drastic ebbs and flows in your results. And so this topic means a lot to us because not only is it something that I would argue is one of the, if you were to say, all right, Jeff, if you could narrow down your success in real estate sales to 3 to 5 things, what would it be? But also, if you could narrow down our team's success in real estate sales to 3 to 5 things, what would it be? Structure and accountability, without question, would fall into the top 5. In fact, when people join our company, it's one of the 5 things that we talk about as one of the reasons why they should join. So it's a very important topic, regardless of how sexy the title is, and it is the difference maker in many cases for a talented agent to get results and a talented agent who doesn't get results. It is probably the single greatest differentiator, quite honestly. So for those that are joining us for the first time, let us know if you're a first-time webinar attendee. Drop it in the chat. Before you do, change the little selection to everyone. It might default to host and panelists. If you're a first-timer, just drop, hey, first-timer here from in the chat. And if this is your second, third, fourth, fifth, 10th, however many times, that doesn't matter. I still want to know where you're joining us from all over North America. Sometimes we have a few people joining us from outside of North America, so we always love seeing that. Thank you for waking up with us this morning in Arizona, and for those of you joining us on the West Coast, good to see you guys. So for those that are not familiar, my name is Jeff Glover. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I've been listing and selling real estate now. This May will actually be my 24th year. And in 24 years, I've learned a thing or two about real estate. But I think what's most important for you guys to know, for my first timers, I'm still in it with you. I know exactly what you're going through. As for me, a bad month might be 4 to 6 sales. A good month might be somewhere between 6 and 8. I know what you're dealing with on the listing side. I know what you're dealing with on the buy side. And I think that's probably why so many people are following what we teach here at Glover U today. You also have Taylor Kerrigan, who is joining us as well, and you see her there on the screen. I'll have her do a little bit of an intro here in a second, but for those that are not familiar, she's been with me for 24 of those years, essentially the last 13 or 14 of them, and she's held pretty much every single position in the organization, everything from front desk staff all the way to now she's the CEO of Glover Agency. So she has handled my personal business as it relates to structure and accountability as a producer, and she's also leading our sales team to have a record year last year with over $300 million in sales and just 47 full-time salespeople in a market where the average sales price is like $300,000. So do the math on that. It's pretty impressive. So Taylor, why don't you lead us off? And I've got a few things that I want to share, but really, tell us a little bit about yourself. And when you think of structure and accountability, what it means to you and what you're seeing in the differences in, for instance, my business and the business of our team.
Yeah, so thanks for that, Jeff. That was basically my intro, so I appreciate you setting that up for me. No, I've been alongside you now for 14 going on 15 years, and I've had the opportunity of really sitting in every seat in a real estate organization. And I think the reason, I always say I'm teaching here to a great group in Apex, Carolina today, and I said the same thing to them just a few minutes ago. Everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. Why do some agents sell 50 homes, sell 100 homes, and then why do some agents struggle and sell 1 and 2? Well, the difference that I see in that, knowing that we all have the same 24 hours, is the agents that are consistently hitting their goals or exceeding their goals are the ones who are actually leaning into accountability and leaning into structure, right?
Mhm.
I use the example like if you went to the gym and just like randomly started, working out on this machine and then that machine and then this one looked good and then that one looked good, we would never actually see true results because you were operating in so many different areas. Where if we
Mhm.
stay focused in one area and we constantly keep working on one muscle, then we're going to see the results of those activities. The same thing goes for real estate. When we follow a structure and we follow accountability, that's the difference when I see agents who actually have results. So when we, introduce, and obviously we're going to talk today about, a couple areas of accountability and where I see agents struggle. But when people ask me like why, Glover Agency has increased every year for the last 3 years, since I started working with our sales team, what is that difference maker? Why has that happened? Honestly, it boils down to we have had really intense accountability
Mhm.
and supporting our agents with what their goals are. One of the things that we teach at Glover U and Glover Agency is everyone has different seasons of life. I know not, we're going to have hundreds and thousands of people who watch this webinar either live with us today or watch the recording. Not all of us want to sell the same amount of homes, right? Some of us
Mhm.
want to sell 10, some of us want to sell 100, some of us want to sell 1,000. I don't care what that number is. Here at Glover U, we will give you that plan. Whatever that number is, I will show you the pathway of getting there. It is then your job to make sure you show up every day and actually do the activities to bring those results. Well, the number one challenge that I see with a lot of real estate agents is they get excited about the number and get excited about the goal. They maybe do the activities for a week or 10 days and then they fall off. And then they wonder why the results don't follow. And so that's why we do a lot of things at Glover U and Glover U Coaching to hold you accountable to what you say you want to do to help you achieve the numbers you want to hit and ultimately earn the income you deserve. And, that's kind of when I think about us at Glover U and the programs that we have and how I support you, it is leading you down that path to help you with what you want to accomplish this year.
Yes. So when you think about the areas where structure and accountability are most important in a real
Yeah.
estate agent's business, what are some of those areas that come to mind? And what are some of the things that we're doing that might be, maybe not necessarily unique, but that are routine as it relates to accountability and structure to make sure we're making progress in those areas?
Yeah, so I have really broken it down. I think there are 5 keys to success in an agent's business, and I'm going to
Okay.
walk you through those 5. And Jeff, I know you're going to have,
Yep. By the
some
way, I
stuff
just
about
noticed
that.
we have someone on here from Brussels. I'm not sure what time it is there, but if we're referring to the other part of the world, thank you for waking up or staying up late to join us today. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I love that. Lally from Brussels. That's awesome.
Yep.
Okay. So there are 5 keys to, in my opinion, a successful agent's business. Going back to that scenario, why do some agents succeed and why do some agents struggle? I have studied for the last 14 years agents who succeed, and I really see it boils down to they are strong in 5 different areas. Now, what's
Hmm.
great about this is all of us have an opportunity to get better in those 5 areas. None of them are crazy, magic pills or anything like that that are going to
Yep.
be hard for you to implement. They're all easy if you are intentional with getting better at it. Okay.
Yep.
So the first one that I want you to write down is accountability. Now, listen. I get it. Not everyone loves accountability, but everyone needs it. Okay. Agents get it, and I want you to hear me here because this is a powerful sentence. Agents get into the business for freedom and flexibility. It is also the number one reason why they fail out of the business. They
Hmm.
get into it because they want some freedom, they want to work the hours they want to work, they want to take weekends off. Well, in most cases, those are also the agents who are struggling because they don't have accountability around their business. And when I look at the agents who are succeeding at a very high level, they lean into accountability. They crave
Yep.
accountability. They want
Yep.
more of it. They don't want less of
Mhm.
it. And so, really what it is in our world, and specifically in our 76 hard program, which I'm going to mention a few times today, accountability is having someone every single day tell you what you should be doing. And I don't
Yep.
mean that from a micromanaging standpoint, because trust me, I know no one wants to be micromanaged, myself included. But it is a coach sharing with you, okay, based on the plan that you want, based on what you want to accomplish this year, here is what we should be doing. And so in the 76 Hard program, specifically what it looks like is every morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, there is a post that is made with suggestions of what you should be doing for that day. All of these things are proven activities that bring results. We wouldn't ask you to do 27 jumping jacks. That has nothing to do with real estate. It's not going to help you with selling a house. But being that we've done this, for quite some time, and we've worked with very successful real estate agents, we know what brings results, what brings contacts, what brings contracts, and we help coach you on that. Now, when the homework comes out at 7 a.m. every single day, it doesn't mean that it needs to be done at 7 a.m., but it does mean it's kind of your plan for the day. And I've had a lot of people who have taken the 76 Hard program previously tell me that, like, when the 76 days were done, they would wake up on like the 78th day and like feel lost because it became part of their routine every single morning of like waking up to a message from me of, hey, here's what you should be doing today.
Yep.
And it really kind of helps mold their career. So I want to just go back to they get into the business for freedom and flexibility, and it's also the number one reason they fail. There's a big difference between micromanaging and accountability. Accountability is leading you down a path to success. Micromanaging is asking you what you're going to do every hour of the day. We don't want to do that. I don't want to be micromanaged. I don't want to micromanage you, but I do want to tell you the proven techniques that you should follow on a daily basis to bring results.
So what I heard in that is agents who essentially wake up every day and have a daily assignment. And I wouldn't even use the term homework. It might as well be called real work, because it's a list of things that we need to do day in and day out anyways. And so waking up with a list of action items that are designed to generate business, not service business. Can you talk a little bit about, the difference between those two? Because I think a lot of agents wake up, Taylor, and think that they need to jump into servicing business right away, and then they never get around to generating business.
Yeah, there's a difference between income generating activities and income servicing activities. I'm not naive to the fact that all of us need to spend some time in income servicing, but it's not the first thing that we should be doing every single day. So at Glover U, we really try to coach you and train you on how to get your income generating activities out of the way. And if we do that, then everything else should fall into place. One of our Beaverisms is own the morning, win the day. And so I really help you during this program with getting intentional on your, morning routine. So that way your afternoon could be spent the way that you want, whether that is in servicing, whether that is in family things, whatever the case is. But it's kind of that morning wake up call of like, hey, what are you doing to generate a new deal this day?
Yep. And by the way, anyone who's wondering, like, wait a minute, are they going to be selling me on a program or something here? Watch. It's one of the only, well, we give away a lot of stuff free, and I'm about to give you something free here in a second, but it is the only actual daily coaching program that could be free. And for most people who take it, it ends up costing nothing at all. We'll talk about it more at the end. But what we're sharing with you are some of the things that are included in our 76 Hard program. So that way, maybe you could take this and do this on your own. And some of you will, and that's fine. And a lot of you are going to recognize, well, no, I need the daily help. I need the daily guidance. And obviously, that's where we will come in. Before you go to the next one, Taylor, is there anything else when you think about, like, accountability day in, day out that we do at a high level that you think is the difference maker between our agents and the rest of our competition?
I mean, it is my answer honestly is we treat this like a job. Let's just pretend that you worked at Ford Motor Company or any, Delta, any company. You would show up for work every day at a certain time. You would do your job and then you would go home. And what we help you with and what we support you with is treating this like a job. So if you are a full-time real estate salesperson, or maybe you are part-time right now and you want to get to full-time, I help you with kind of creating that schedule and flexing that muscle to where this is just second nature or natural for you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. And I know, like, for instance, all of our agents are on a 7:25 a.m. accountability call Monday through Friday. All of our agents are in a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. meeting for 10 to 10:30 where we're building their skills for 30 minutes a day, 3 days a week. All of our agents are in a 3-hour, right? Like, so there are definitely some structures that are in place that any one of you could go and implement on your own or with the help of somebody else. And certainly that's where probably a lot of people use the 76 Hard program, because they're like, well, I can't join your team because you're only in one state. I'm not interested in joining your team. What could I do to have the level of accountability and structure that you provide on your team? And that's what we're basically talking about here, right?
Yep.
Awesome. So then, by the way, before you get to number two, I forgot to mention it in the beginning, but something to share in terms of daily. If you're not currently receiving the daily message, every day I write a message designed to help you list and sell more real estate. I'm gifting you a subscription. If you're in the United States, you can just text the word morning to 55444. Again, you're texting the word morning to 55444. They'll throw that in the chat as well. If you're outside of the U.S., just email us at info@gloveru.com. That's info@gloveru.com. And just put in the subject line, daily message, body of the email, first name, last name, phone number, email address, and we'll get you signed up for that. But even that alone is something that, that you can look forward to daily. It's not necessarily an assignment like you get in 76 Hard, but just a daily shot in the arm of ideas or creativity, things you can do to generate business.
Yep. All right. So the second thing that comes to mind when I think about like key successes for agents' business, the second is their database. I constantly say, if you have consistent output, you'll have consistent input. Right? If you look at your real estate business right now and it resembles one of these, which is a real estate roller coaster, I would be willing to bet we do not have consistent output to our database or consistent lead generation out. And that's why your business goes through ups and downs. So if you're thinking to yourself that you want to have more stability in your paychecks, if you want to have more stability in your closings, then my first thing as your coach, I would be looking at, okay, what does our output look like? Now, I am well aware that a lot of our agents and a lot of agents in, in real estate in general, one of their number one, if it's not the one source of business that they focus on the most is their database. The reason you want to work your database is because hopefully these people already know you, like you, and trust you, okay? And if they know you and like you, all we need to do is get them to trust you with their real estate transaction. And that will happen more often when we are doing a good job with our database plan. So what that looks like is basically in the 76 Hard program, you're going to see that on a weekly basis, I'm going to ask you to do something that ties to your database. It could be this week, I want you to call 5 people from your database. It could be this week, I want you to send 10 handwritten cards to your database. Transparently, I had an agent recently in a one-on-one. She had a great year 2 years ago. She kind of didn't have the best year last year. And I asked her to spend some time in reflection. And I said, what was different in 2024 than in 2025? If you had to pinpoint one thing that you think is different between the two. She said, in 2024, I took 76 Hard and you made me reach out to my database 2 to 3 times a week. I didn't do it in 2025 and I had less database business coming into me as a result. That was the number one reason why she reflected on her business was down in 2025 versus 2024 because she wasn't having those consistent daily activities. Okay. Yeah. So what this could look like is you might be asked to call your database one week, mail your database, whether that's handwritten cards, maybe door knock, add them on social media, whatever the case is, we rotate it throughout the weeks. But ultimately, I'm going to ask you to stay front and center with them because we know that that is one of your, I'm going to call it lowest of the funnel opportunities because they already are pre-bought in on you as a person. We just have to get them bought in on real estate.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Anything to add there, Jeff?
No, I love, I think that, the accountability and structure around database, so many agents know that database is critical to their success. They've been hearing it for years or months, depending on how long they've been in the business. And database isn't just like a quarterly thing that you think about. It's not just like when it's time to put on an event or when it's time to do a pie giveaway. Database is a daily thing, whether it's making contacts every single day, whether it's sending emails working your database and the structure around working your database is not a seasonal thing. It's a daily thing.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. The third key that I see, honestly, and it's skills. Why do some agents have higher conversion ratios than others? I always say, listen to this question really quick. If I could show you a way that you could make more money this year and go on less appointments, would you want to know how?
And
all of
everyone's
you,
going to answer yes to that.
yeah, everyone should be shaking their head yes. Then it's working on your skills. And when we work on our skills, that means our conversion ratios get better, which means that we don't have to go on as many appointments to earn the same amount of income. And if we can get good at that, then that means that's more time to reinvest into your business. Maybe it's, increasing your units or your volume, or it could be more time back with your family. And so you'll see that a section of the 76 Hard program is I'm going to daily ask you to work on your skills. Even the best of the best. Listen, even Tiger Woods, who has won tons of championships, has a coach, and he's working on his skills every single day. He practices every single day. That's because the best are always on a constant pursuit to get better. The best are always on a constant pursuit to get better. You are never good enough. You always have an opportunity of getting better. And that's why even in the 76 Hard program, every day, I'm going to ask you to work on your skills. It's going to come in the form of script writing. You can pick your script. It's going to come in the form of role playing with other people in the 76 Hard program, which hint, hint, becomes some of the best referral opportunities as well. I see so many of our agents sending referrals to one another, and it happened because they met in the 76 Hard program. So it could actually not only end up being free, but actually make a ton of money from it too, because of the relationships. And then role playing, writing, and chanting the scripts. Ultimately, my goal is to help you get better at your craft during the 76 days.
What's really cool about the writing, chanting, and role playing is a lot of people don't know this, but for 7 years straight, I had a role play partner 5 days a week, every Monday, every Tuesday, every Wednesday, every Thursday, every Friday. I was well into the 100 units a year myself personally, and I'm still role playing 5 days per week. Why? Because just like Taylor said, I wanted to be able to get the same result in less time. I wanted to improve the amount of units that I sold without having to increase the amount of appointments I'd have to go on or set. And that's what this does for you. The other thing that I think about when it relates to real estate sales skills is, Taylor, everyone in 76 Hard is also going to get the new scripts, which, several of our scripts are receiving updates right now. People ask all the time, why do you guys update your scripts so much? Why are you always updating your scripts? Well, first of all, we're in it with you, so we know exactly what the consumer needs to know and hear. And number two, because the industry is always changing. And for anyone that's kind of turning up their nose at the idea of getting better at their skills or getting better at their scripts, you have to understand that we teach modern day sales training at Glover U. What is modern day sales training? Modern day sales training is saying the right things at the right times so the prospect feels good about saying yes to you. Let that sink in just for a second. When you hear sales training or when you hear scripts and dialogues, I know you probably think cheesy 1990s strategies. No. Watch. Modern day sales training. Ready? Saying the right things at the right times so the customer feels great about saying yes to you. That's it. That's what that's what scripts and dialogues are. And so, that is a big part of the 76 Hard program. And it also should be a big part of whether you join us or not, should be part of your daily routine. No different than it was mine. Quite honestly, if Glover U didn't exist today, I would still be practicing and role playing every single day. And I still do with our team when we have special, occasion scripts, objection handlers, or whatever that they want me to get in the pit and handle with them.
Okay, next one, lead generation. Lead generation. Listen to me. The day you give up on your lead generation is the day that you give up on your paycheck 90 days from now. Okay. So for those of you that are participating in 76 Hard, I'm going to ask you to lead generate every day. And before you're like, oh my God, listen, if you're a full-time real estate salesperson, you should be lead generating every day anyways. It is our job. It is one of our role. If there was a job description for real estate agents, it would literally say prospect next to it. Now, I am not going to require you to call a specific source, right? You can decide what your source is. However, I am going to ask you to lead generate every single day. I will tell you the constant reminder of like, man, I got to call someone today. I got to hit some contacts. I got to have some results. That is what's going to be the difference that's going to take you to the next level. Okay, when you actually lead generate every single day. So for 76 days, I'm going to be in front of you. And by the way, these 76 days, you should know now, are only Monday through Friday. It's not Saturdays and Sundays. You get weekends and holidays off. But I'm going to ask you Monday through Friday to pick up the phone or get out in your market and get face-to-face with people and lead generate daily.
So if I was watching this right now, I'd be wondering, you're going to tell me what sources to work and how to work them. Is that right?
Well, yes and no. So what I mean by that, we're going to cover that in the last key. I am going to expose you to different sources of business, but I'm not going to force you to call expireds every single day. I'm
Gotcha.
well
Okay.
aware that some of you focus more on database, for sale by owners, expireds. From time to time, I may ask you to step outside of your comfort zone and just try calling another source because you never
Yep.
know what's on the other side of that. But it's not going to be where every day you have to spend, let's just say 90 minutes calling expireds if that's not your chosen source of business.
Got it. Got it. So you're going to go over the sources, give me the ammo to work them, and I get to pick and choose which ones I actually want to work.
Yes, but I am going to ask you to lead generate every single day. And if you have a
Okay.
problem with that, you're probably not a full-time real estate salesperson. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Last source is, or I'm sorry, last key. Honestly, when I look at the best versus the rest, what makes a strong real estate agent? So far, we've already said a strong real estate agent leans into accountability. Number two, they talk to their database consistently. Number three, they are constantly practicing their skills. The fourth, they lead generate every day. And number five, they're not afraid to step outside of their comfort zone. Number five, they're not afraid to step outside of their comfort zone. What do I mean by that? When you're uncomfortable, you're growing. Okay. I'm not going to ask you to do anything crazy. I'm not going to ask you to, spend 60 days calling expireds if you've never called an expired before. But we are going to take you through the Sales Rocket program, which Jeff will talk about in a moment. And I'm going to teach you the different sources of business through that. Now, when we talk about learning those different sources, there may be one day where I say, hey, you just learned expires yesterday. Give it a whirl. Call an expired today. See how
Yep.
it goes. I will tell you, so, we've now done 76 hard. This is probably like our 10th launch at this point. And when I talk to people who have taken it previously, they will tell me like, hey, I used to hate door knocking, but you made me door knock once, and it actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was. And it now became my
Yeah.
number one source of business.
Yeah.
So the reason why we ask you to do that, again, when you're uncomfortable, you're growing, but until you expose yourself to additional sources of business and step outside of that comfort zone, you never know what's on the other side.
Yep. Taylor, so I know obviously when you look at the people that have succeeded in 76 Hard, what would you say that they had in common, the ones that got the most out of the 76 Hard program? What were they doing differently than everyone else in the program?
I mean, they were just leaning into it. They
Hmm.
knew that the 76 days is not hard. Like I know
Hmm.
it's in the name, so one would think that it's going to be really hard. It is not hard if you are really focused on growing your real estate business. It is just going to remind you what you should be doing every single day. You should be in front of your database. You should be skill practicing. You should be,
Yep.
lead generating, all of those 5 skills that I taught you. And if you do
Yep.
that consistently for 76 days, the results will follow. And Jeff, I know you're
Hmm.
going to talk about, how the results come through and so forth.
Yeah.
You just have to be open-minded and know on the other side is your unreal life.
Yeah. Well, and Taylor, I know one of the reasons why you run 76 Hard is because obviously you're working directly with our team. So you know which agents are succeeding, which agents are failing, which by the way, we just had, an award ceremony where we talked about our per agent productivity was over 21 units per agent, which is huge. So you know the ones that are having success and you know the ones that are not having success. And so what I love about the daily assignments that you give us is you update them based on what's working right now and what's not working right now. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, people always ask me like, hey, can you send me the 76 days in advance? No, I can't because we rewrite the program every single time we run it.
Hmm.
I'm looking at, all right, our agents are having success here in Michigan with this. So let's, do it with the 76 hard group. It's not, even people sometimes ask, like, do I need to keep taking it over and over? Yeah, because every
Hmm.
single time it's something different that we're teaching you. The end result is still the same. It's to get you more production, but how we get you there might be a little bit different, which will expose you to something that's a new source of business for yourself.
So this isn't AI, this isn't a bot, this isn't something that is automated where, we just press play and let it shoot out whatever ideas or assignments. It is literally the two of us talking about what the theme is going to be for the week and then Taylor coming up with a daily plan of action for you to follow based on things that we're already doing. And I think that's the advantage that we have a bit of an unfair advantage is that we're in the trenches with you. We know what you're going through. We know what's working and we know what's not. And so we're never going to encourage you to do something that we aren't currently doing ourselves right now in our business. And I think that's one of the coolest parts about 76 Hard. So, Taylor, I know you've got another Zoom after this, so I'm going to wrap up this one. But what I want to do is I want to transition to anyone who's curious, first things first, about the program. I just want you to text the number 76 to 55444. That same link or that same text code that you use to sign up for the morning message. Just text the number 76 to 55444, and that'll ask you your first name, your email address, and then it's going to send you a link to take you to the site. But while you're looking at that, I would encourage you to continue to take notes on what I'm going to share because, first of all, you're wondering, okay, how can this potentially be free? I'm going to cover that in a second. But also, if I'm in your shoes, I might be wondering, why does this work? Like, what is it about this that causes it to work? And so what I know about myself is before I sign up for anything, I want to know like the logic of how this works. And besides the fact we've got now hundreds of success stories, for those of you that come to our events, you know, we do the summer event, we do the winter event. You see almost every single person on our stage selling 50, 75, 100 homes per year. You know, one of the things they completed was 76 Hard, and several of them have gone through it multiple times over and over and over again. So why does it work? I wrote down it works because of uncomfortable extremes. A shock to the system in many cases is what we need to break tradition. Think about that for a second. Uncomfortable extremes and a shock to the system is sometimes what we need in order to break tradition. I wrote down why it works. Environment is everything. This essentially becomes your environment for the next 75. Now, it's called 76 Hard. That's because on the 76th day, it includes a 1-hour mastermind with Taylor and I to talk about, okay, what to do moving forward. But it's really 75 days of an environment that we create for you. I wrote down it creates lifelong habits. There's a reason why the fitness program 75 Hard is so popular and is so effective because it creates habits that stick around with people for life. It's the same reason why no one should ever go on a diet. You make a life change. You do something that you're going to stick with for life. And this will definitely create lifelong habits for you. I wrote down the mental toughness of completing the program actually leads to more confidence. We hear from people all the time, you know, before I joined 76 Hard, I really focused more on buyers because it seemed easier. That's all I knew. But this forced me to get out of my comfort zone, to scrape my knees a little bit and learn how to communicate at a high level with sellers. And now I have more confidence than I've ever had before in working with sellers. I wrote down the daily versus the big picture. This forces you to think about the daily activities. Too many trainers, too many coaches, too many systems all want to talk about, you know, quarterly goals or annual goals or, you know, where you could be in 3 to 5 years if you do A, B, and C. We don't actually talk about any of that stuff in 76 Hard. We talk about what you need to do Monday, what you need to do Tuesday, what you need to do Wednesday, what you need to do Thursday, what you need to do Friday in order to accomplish the goals that you want to accomplish in 76 days. We're not thinking big picture in this program. We're thinking about daily action. I wrote down, why does this work? Because there's built-in accountability. There's an accountability system that includes having you post your homework into the private Facebook group. Why does this work? Why does 76 Hard work? Because of the routine consistency that develops, and that leads to the compound effect. If anyone's ever read that book, it's a great book, by the way. Why does it work? Because there's a penalty attached to it. Well, what's the penalty, Jeff? Well, if you don't complete the homework, if you don't finish the program, you don't get your money back. And now I want to talk about that for a second because there are, you know, if you're wondering, about 2/3 of the people make it through. 1/3 did not. So you have a 66% chance of making it through. 1/3 of the people that take the program do not finish it. And they put up $1,000 for the program, and they don't get their money back. Now, those people oftentimes will still tell us, because I see them at our events, and I'll say, like, hey, did you complete 76 Hard? I saw you were in it last round. No, I didn't, but I want to tell you, you know, I know you kept my $1,000 because it's really like an escrow account. We see it like that because in our mind, we want to give it all back. We don't want to take any money from this. But we also know you got to have some skin in the game in order to take action on something. So when I'll run into people at our events, I'll say, hey, what happened to you? 76 Hard. Well, I didn't finish it, and you guys kept my money, which I understand. I knew what I was signing up for, but I want to tell you, I, without question, can trace 3 to 4 transactions back to my time in 76 Hard. So I got that 1,000 back, no problem. Why is that? Well, because some of you are just going to take 76 Hard for the notes. Some of you are going to take 76 Hard just for the content. And you're going to pick and choose what you do, what you don't do, and maybe you'll do your homework, maybe you won't, but it'll still end up being a profitable situation for you. I wrote, why does it work? Because you create referral groups, you create role plays, and you create a mastermind group for life. At our events on the name badges, if you get the chance to come to our retreat that's going to be this June up in Traverse City, Michigan, on the name badge, you'll see all the people that completed 76 Hard. It's kind of like this cool kids club to be in. And we usually, I know for this summer's retreat, there's going to be a separate meetup just for people that have completed 76 Hard. I'm real excited about that. And without question, why does it work? Because it is the absolute most complete onboarding that you can offer. For those of you leading teams or leading brokerages, it's 76 days straight. Imagine holding your agent's hand for 76 days. That's what this is. And so I get the question all the time, Jeff, what kind of results can I expect from 76 Hard? I'm going to be real honest with you. You're not going to have any results in the first 30 days. Zero, zip, zilch. Now, you might set some appointments because of 76 Hard. You might go on some appointments from 76 Hard. You might even get a contract or 2 signed in your first 30 days. But really, money-wise, no, you're not making any additional income in the first 30 days. I can promise you that. In days 31 through 59, that's where we start to see appointments and contracts. So again, it's a 76-day program, 0 through 30, no expectations. I mean, maybe you'll set an appointment, maybe you'll go on a few, whatever, or maybe you'll go on an additional appointment or 2. But little to no expectations your first 30 days, I can promise you that. Day 31 through 59, this is actually where you start to see semi-regular progress as it relates to appointments set and appointments gone on. So day 31 through 59, all of a sudden, which by the way is perfect because that puts you right in the spring market, you're going on probably more appointments than you were going on last year at the same time. You're setting more, you're going on more, but still not a lot of income from the program yet. And then here's where it starts getting fun. Day 60 through 75. So the last 15 days in the program, you actually start to see regular contracts. You actually start to see an extra commission check or 2 show up from the program. That doesn't mean you wouldn't have had some earlier than that, but this is where it actually starts to really become almost like natural. The results all of a sudden just seem to fall out of the sky. And the reality is they didn't fall out of the sky. If it's because of the work you did of day 1 through day 59. And then finally, I actually wrote down what kind of results you can expect. The heaviest results are actually going to show up after the program's over. I wrote down day 76 through day 120 is where those that have completed the program report the absolute best results. That's where the paychecks come in. And for some of you, it's going to be regular paychecks, which you may not be used to at this point. And for the rest of you, it's going to be additional paychecks on top of whatever regular paychecks that you're currently receiving. But without question, day 76 through 120 is where you're going to receive the biggest benefit of the 76 Hard program. So what tools are needed? Okay, there is one thing that is required for 76 Hard to work. Okay, so just in case you were wondering it, or if you text the word or the number, 76 to 55444, you all probably did that, and you have it up on your screen maybe while I'm talking. By the way, if you're outside of the U.S., just email us at info@gloveru.com. Or actually, no, I'll make it easier. You don't even have to email us. If you just go to gloveru.com/76. All right, let me just make sure this works before I send you guys to the wrong place. gloveru.com/76. Yep, it works. So if you go to gloveru.com/76, you'll have everything you need there, or you can just text 76 to 55444. So for those of you that are wondering, okay, what does it cost and how could this be free? Okay, first of all, here's how it works. You put up $1,000. That's right. We hold $1,000 like a bank. And it literally, I mean, even for us, it sits in a completely separate account. It's basically, you might as well call it like an escrow account. You put up $1,000. And when you complete the program, all right, there's homework check marks as we go through. You have plenty of time to get your homework in even after the program is over, because we have people that are like, well, what if I have a vacation, or what if I have this? What we give some grace. You have 14 days of grace after the program's over. So we work with you. We don't want you to fail out of the program. We want you to have success in the program. And so for those of you that have vacations and things scheduled where you're like, oh, I'm going to fall behind, we give you strategies on how to stay caught up, okay? And we give you some grace after the program is over to get all of your homework in. You get all of your homework in, you get your $1,000 back. Now, again, I want to be real clear with you. The homework isn't like, is the homework, are we talking, Jeff, 30 to 90 minutes a day, or are we talking like 4 or 5 hours a day? Like, because I can't commit to something that's 4 or 5 hours a day. Most of our 76 Hard attendees will tell us it averages them about 45 minutes a day. Some days it's going to be less. It's going to be 30. Some days it's going to be more like 60 to 75 minutes a day of time spent completing the homework. But on average, people that have completed 76 Hard told us on average it takes them about 45 minutes a day to complete the homework. So we're not talking about taking up your entire day or anything like that. And again, I use the term homework. It really should be called real work, because that's what it is. It's just things that you should be doing day in and day out anyways. So that's step one. You have to put up the money, and it works because if you know you have a chance of getting your money back, well, then you're more likely to turn in the homework. And of course, that's why we do it, because we want you to have some skin in the game. The second part of completing 76 Hard is you do need access to Glover U's Sales Rocket. All right. You'll see that on the webpage if you go to gloveru.com/76. A lot of you already have access to Glover U's Sales Rocket, because when you bought it, maybe you didn't know this, but it came with a 1-year subscription. So as long as you have bought Glover U's Sales Rocket, which is $395, as long as you've bought Glover U's Sales Rocket in the last 365 days, you do not need to repurchase it. Now, for some of you that are like, what is Sales Rocket? Well, Sales Rocket is essentially, I think today it's up to 37 sessions of our entire program from start to finish. We utilize that program throughout all of 76 Hard. So yes, you are going to need Glover U Sales Rocket, but also most of you are probably like, I probably needed to sign up for that anyways, because that's where you're going to get the sales training, the marketing, every it's an entire system. The listing appointment, the buyer process, lead generation, lead file, it is a full system. So you do need that. And some of you already have that, so it's not going to cost you additional. The only thing it's going to cost you is $1,000 that you have to put up. So to be clear, you have to put $1,000 in what we will call Glover U escrow. Everyone has to do that. And for those of you that don't currently have access to Glover U's Sales Rocket, you are going to have to purchase Sales Rocket. It's $395, and you have access to it for 1 full year. You have 365 days of access. Jeff, do I get my $395 back? You do not, because that's a completely separate program, but it's a tool that's needed for 76 Hard to work. Now, here's what's also exciting. Starting literally this afternoon, I'm in the studio today, not only for this webinar, because starting this afternoon, I'm updating every single Sales Rocket session. Now, for those of you that have been through Sales Rocket before, you know it's already been getting some updates, right? You'll notice all of a sudden you're watching, session 7, and then the very next session looks like, it was in the winter months because I've got no tan, and then the next session after that is in the summer months because I have a tan. That's because we've been updating it already. So every single session is getting a complete overhaul, and anyone who purchases Sales Rocket in 2026 is going to get the new version as soon as it's out. So, well, to start, are we going to be operating from the old version? Yes, because there's not going to be massive changes between the old one and the new one. It's just we're updating a few things in each session. Okay, so those are the two things that you need. Okay, and then finally, I want to say before we finish, there's really 3 types of agents who go through Sales Rocket. Okay, the type of agents who go through Sales Rocket are what I will call Agent A. This is the agent who essentially literally completes everything on time or early, and they not only get their money back, but they experience a significant lift in business and income from treating the program and playing, like it matters and playing all in. All right. If you behave like Agent A, you're going to be just fine. Agent B is probably the majority of the agents who attend the program. They actually complete the program, but they're maybe behind on, they get behind on their homework, or maybe they skip a few role plays, or they're not necessarily playing all in. They're playing to win, but not necessarily all in. That agent will complete the program and will also receive a lift in business from Sales Rocket, but not as significant as Agent A. And then we have Agent C. This is usually just the agent who pays the $1,000 to get the plan. They like having a message every day of what to do, and they sometimes do it and they sometimes don't. They're probably not going to get their money back. They're not going to complete the program, but they will be able to trace transactions back to 76 Hard, and that would be Agent C. That's probably the 1/3 of the people who don't complete it, by the way. All right. So let me see if there's any questions in the chat before we go. Let's see if I missed anything. Thank you guys for the kind words. Yep, 76 Hard. Yep, if you email us, Lenny, email us at info.gloveru, we will get you in. If you just go to Glover, if the text didn't work for you, you're in another state or a country, just go to gloveru.com/76. That'll get you all the information you need. But other than that, I think we pretty much handled everything. Listen, it has been great being with you guys. I look forward to another graduating class of 76 Hard. By the way, it starts on February 23rd. The next one starts on February the 23rd. You'll see that on the website. And it strategically ends on June 11th. Why do we have it ending on June 11th? Because that's right before the Live Unreal retreat. So we get to see all of our graduates there. We get a nice meetup with those of you who have completed it. And I'm looking forward to spending some extra time with you guys as well. We will see you in 76 Hard starting February the 23rd. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.